All right, Elliot Spitzer resigned in shame today. He abused his power. No one is above the law, but we will have a debate about his so-called Wall Street legacy. Joining me for that, Amity Shlaes, counsel on foreign relations and author of The Forgotten Man. Herb Greenberg, CNBC contributor, senior columnist at Market Watch. Vince Farrell, Jerry Bowyer, still with us. Hello, everybody. Herb Greenberg, you first. You're going to support him. I want to hear the case.
Well, the support comes just from what he did with Wall Street on the independent research, going after that Chinese wall that didn't exist. I think you have to give him credit for that, because going against Wall Street, Larry, as you know, it's very difficult. He was able to do it. Good for that. Good for him on that score.
Amity Shlaes, not a single trial, and smearing a lot of names of some individuals who sure as heck didn't deserve it. You wrote a tough column today. Give us your response to Herb Greenberg.
Well, there's the law, and then there's abuse of the law. And unfortunately, this falls into the latter class. When you look at what Governor Spitzer did over the years, it wasn't just prosecute. It was impugn people's motives. Merrill Lynch, AIG, John Whitehead, Joseph Bruno of the New York of our government, saying he was old and senile. He would repeatedly go after people's motives and who they were, and then try to avoid a trial. In these instances, in my Bloomberg column, I talk about Theodore Seipel, who's one of the few who went to trial in Spitzer's prosecutions and was acquitted. That man had the bravery, and I disagree with our colleague, because it's not. Wall Street is cowardly, and when Wall Street wants to, it backs you. It backs.
Not on that issue.
Seipel was acquitted. Let me just review this, because a lot of people forget. Seipel was acquitted. He was a broker. He was acquitted of 29 counts of alleged improper trading of mutual funds after Spitzer chose to prosecute him. Now, that's bad enough, but Jerry Bowyer, Spitzer on national television, on the Sunday talk show of George Stephanopoulos, essentially called Hank Greenberg of AIG, formerly, a crook and a criminal.
Right.
Greenberg, who I've known for years and years and years, is one of the grand old men of Wall Street. He is a brilliant CEO, one of the backbones of American business, and Spitzer just throws it out there and basically says he's a criminal. What do you make of that, Jerry Bowyer?
I make of it that the other Greenberg who's on the panel with us tonight is absolutely wrong. It is not hard to go after Wall Street.
Oh, it's very hard to go after Wall Street. If it were hard to go after Wall Street,
he wouldn't have done it. It is politically popular in the Democratic Party to go after Wall Street.
He went after the sacred cow.
There is a lynch mob mentality right now.
He went after the sacred cow of the research part, the Chinese wall. That he has to get credit for. Forget the rest of the stuff. I'm just talking about that one thing there. So you have to give him credit on that.
Look, he was part of a lynch mob. And I'm not going to say to someone in a lynch mob, he actually picked up some chewing gum on the way off the ground. He was part of a cabal that went after decent people and created an atmosphere about business that was incredibly destructive to our economy and to world markets.
Vince Farrell, this is an interesting point, the last hook from Jerry Bowyer. Elliot Spitzer goes after all these quote-unquote big shots and large firms. Now, what you got is a lot of attorneys general around the country imitating Spitzer and weighing in on issues about which they know very little. So where do you come out on this? Is it a net plus what Spitzer did, or a net minus?
I almost want to agree with Herb Greenberg that the Chinese wall of research needed to be attacked. But you know, Herb, Benito Mussolini made the trains run on time. But I don't think we'd look at him as being a leader that any of us will want to repeat.
Well, I think it is.
Well, wait a minute, Herb. Let me finish. This guy was a bully. He was a liar. He lied about the campaign contribution from his dad. He attacked Mr. John Whitehead, one of the true pillars of American society, because he had the temerity to disagree with him. And Wall Street is full of nothing but cowards, because everybody except Greenberg and except Langone caved. And I tell you, I remember Langone at the time the Spitzer or the Grasso thing came out. Every one of us should have a friend like Langone in the foxhole when times get tough, because very few people had the guts to stand up against this guy. And I fault the press, because the press got enamored with this guy. I think the press is decently idealistic.
Well, Vince,
they work at very low wages.
Go ahead. You want to jump in here?
What I was going to say is when you look at the ratio of the campaign donations, Mr. Spitzer on the one side, the Republican candidate, Mr. Faso on the other, you see a 10-to-1 ratio. That is the ratio of cowardice. Wall Street was afraid of what would happen if they did not support him, and so they supported him even though he did not relatively stand for markets. That's the evidence for the argument that Jerry is making.
All right, we're going to stay. Hang on, everybody. Stay with us. We've got much more to do on this topic, and then later on, we're going to look at whether Governor Spitzer is heading for jail for the pokey. Keep it with Kudlow and Company. A lot more to do on this.